Wonderful. Welcome to the Irvine International Academy Board Meeting, which is scheduled for August 1st. It's currently 6:07 p.m. And we're going to begin. I'll welcome our administrators and those that would participate online or otherwise. We'll begin our time by calling the meeting to order with a roll call. And I'll begin to my left, Molly Chang.
Present.
And I'm Doug Hughes, and I'm present as well. Moving to the right, and Brett Freeman. Present. And Felipe Delgado.
Present.
Thank you. And we'll note, Mary Beth, for the record, Miller Zhuang and David Sun are either traveling or unavailable tonight. That gives us 4, which is quorum. And could I impose upon one of our board members to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I volunteer.
Thank you, Felipe.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you again. Item D is a review of the agenda, and I'll ask once you had a chance to review it. It's fairly short today. I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda as it's prepared. Motion to approve. Okay, Brett motions and a second.
I second.
Thank you, Felipe. And we'll just go down the line then on a vote. Molly
Yes.
and Doug is a yes. Brett
Aye.
and Felipe.
Yes.
Wonderful. The agenda stands. Our Roman numeral 2 closed session will be a continuing conversation on a potential litigation matter. We'll exit for a moment and we'll reconvene back in public in I don't want to forecast the time, but we'll return as soon as we're able. Welcome back as we reconvene for the Irvine International Academy board meeting on August 1st. Time now, 6:48. We're going to continue on reporting nothing out of closed session. Nothing to report at this time. That is Roman numeral 2, moving us to Roman numeral 3 as we reconvene. Mary Beth, any public comments for items not on the agenda?
No.
Okay, good. Then we'll move over to item 5, Roman numeral 5. And this is exciting. Dr. Bean, it hadn't been that long, but we're always excited to hear what's happening as preparation for school comes, and look forward to your executive report.
All right, thank you. Just a couple things. Since I reported a few weeks ago on a lot of updates, they will be pretty short, because I'll be reporting at the beginning of year information at the next board meeting, which is in a couple weeks. Today, I just wanted to share that registered students enrolled at our school, 389.
Say it one more time, please.
389. We ended. No, well, the 389 is conservative. 391 is with 2 people that are still, haven't registered. So 389, and
Those
then
spots,
what was that?
those are available seats. As you guys are just wondering, we have room for all of those.
We do have room for all 389. Yeah.
And 391.
Oh, do we have room for extras? We do have room, mainly in 6th and 7th grade, and some in 1st grade. All other grade levels are filled at capacity. So if we did, we could reach 400 if we, got the numbers for 6th and 7th grade. But right now we're at 389, which is 60% higher than what we ended last year, which is 242. So that's a pretty amazing job that the staff has done. Mary Beth, Sai, done an amazing job of recruiting. Our campaign efforts with social media helped bring a lot of people to the website. The work that we did on the website this past year, led by Brett and Felipe, really, bore fruit for the recruiting efforts. Our website's amazing, by the way. Last year, this time, just remember
Struggling.
the website we had before, right? So that's really helped our numbers. And with that being said, we've been working. I brought the lead team back this week. to help support with all things that we need to get going for the start of school year. And so it's great to have them back and the energy they bring. Very excited with the leads we have. We are fully staffed, except for a couple TA positions, but that's not that's not an emergency or, sense of urgency. But our teaching staff is full and our administrative staff is full. So we're pushing.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So the, let's say Chinese teachers, I'm gonna call them that, Chinese teacher, that staff, that portion of the staff, they're all back from last year.
All Mandarin teachers
And
they're all back except for one. She's coming back in a different capacity.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're all back.
So essentially, we're all,
Essentially, all the Mandarin teachers have returned.
okay, perfect.
And we hired, I think, 3 new Mandarin teachers. So, they're unicorns, of course. Any teacher, effective teacher is a unicorn, but especially Mandarin teachers. So the last 2 that we hired are pretty amazing teachers. So
What grade levels would that be? Grade level?
1 in 5th grade, 1 in kindergarten, 2 in kindergarten.
What's the TA ratio?
We're gonna have a TA in every classroom, except for in 6th and 7th, we'll have 1 TA to share between the 2. No students, yeah. Yeah. And then I put in front of you a tentative staff retreat schedule that the instructional leadership team has been working on. So you can get a sense of the types of things we've been planning and working on and what we're going to be working on this year. So as you can see, Wednesday, August 9th is when all of our staff come back. We'd love for any board member to join us. I think Miller may be joining us and Molly may be joining us for parts of this retreat. But on Wednesday is when all of our staff come back. In the morning is all team building activities.
What's for lunch on it?
Good question.
I'll be here.
Bring it here for lunch.
I'll be here.
So,
Did I hear Felipe's treating lunch?
You know what, Mr. Oh, Wednesday. Wednesday's the only day I can. How about Thursday? How about Thursday?
yeah, Thursday, there's lunch.
Okay, I'm gonna put me in,
That's great.
just on me on Thursday.
So Wednesday morning is all team building. Then we get into HR related trainings that we're happy to have Ms. White participate and help us lead those trainings. She's worked very hard on our employee handbook that you should have been able to review and update that. She's been working very hard on all of these things that we need to implement from an HR perspective, time off policy, civility policy, benefits, and the training modules. Thursday, you can see one of the focus this year is on writing. So we do an amazing job with our math scores and our ELA scores. And we felt that to take it to the next level, we really have to teach our students how to write and how to be expert writers. So we're focusing on Lucy Calkins' Writer's Workshop model this entire year. We're bringing in a consultant to come train for 2 days or 1.5 days on Thursday. And then we're also bringing our Mandarin consultant to come in and train our Mandarin teachers in Mandarin undergrad. And so you can see throughout these next several days how the different topics are sprinkled throughout the days, focused on certain teachers based on what they teach in their classroom. And then we're gonna have an all-staff dinner party on Friday night, August 11th. So Felipe, you should join us for that. All right, that's at BJ's. You're all welcome to come. PTO is gonna fund that for us, so we're excited about that. Everybody welcome, 6:30, because it's right after our orientation, by the way, orientation. We did change it a little bit, which we need to communicate to our parents, but we'll have TK families in the library, K1 students here in the MPR at 3:30 for an orientation. Then at 4:30, grades 2 through 4 in the MPR, and then at 5:30, grades 5 through 7 in the MPR. And family orientation is just basically giving them an orientation about the new school year, as well as showing our families who their child's new teacher will be. And then the next week, we have built a lot of time for classroom preparation and classroom setup, but sprinkled in there other trainings such as math, wonders training, Singapore math, and training for TAs and campus aides. So really nice retreat. I think that the lead team did a very nice job of generating that. Any questions about that lead retreat? So as you can see, the focus really this year coming up is instruction, Mandarin language art instruction. That's why we have a consultant for Mandarin, and writing. That's why we have a writing consultant. We're pretty solid in math, proven by over 80%, and we're really solid in ELA, proven by over 80%. So we're doing well.
How does this retreat schedule compare to last school year?
Last school year was really built, a lot of this schedule was built on building culture, staff culture, and team building, getting to know one another, understanding our vision and mission. This year is really centered around curriculum and instruction, especially in those areas of writing and Mandarin.
Same number of days? Last
Same number of days, yes.
You know, also last year, I seem to recall, there was a concern about how we measured the students' Mandarin level. Right?
Yes.
How is any of that
Yes.
problem, I hate to call it a problem, the issue like solved, is that going to be blended in here? Do we have a solution?
I love this board because it's very intelligent questions. The focus on Mandarin formative assessment is in level learning. So as you can see, there's a level learning training, I believe on Thursday, right? Yes, Thursday, in which the teachers learn about those assessments and learn how to use level learning. And so there is an assessment calendar that we put on the website and the family handbook that all of our families can see when we're giving each of the assessments, including the Mandarin assessment.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So I think that was Brett's request last year, at the end of last year, that the parents ought to be able to look at a one-pager assessment calendar. So we developed that for you guys. But actually for the families.
Is level learning being expanded to more grades?
Level learning is being expanded to all grade levels, including the assessment piece. All right, any other questions? No? Wonderful. Wonderful. That's it.
It was a great update. And again, just for all participating, too, we'll be back together in 21 days, which will be after school opens, and we'll see the momentum in the school, too, and the excitement, too. But thank you for the invite to the staff retreat. I think grateful that a number of board members, Miller flying in for that. Molly, you'll be participating. I'll pick a couple of strategic mornings, too, to be here and enjoying that, hopefully some team building or observations. So thank you for the invites to the board members. We'll see if David Sun, depending on his schedule too, if he could join us. Well, wonderful. Then moving on to Roman numeral 6, our consent items, really just one consent item, and that's the approval of our previous board minutes. We can approve all the consent items as one motion. May I ask for a motion to approve the consent items? Molly moves and I'll second, and we'll start our vote that direction. Molly?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, and Brett?
Aye.
And
Yes.
also, yeah, thank you, Felipe. Wonderful, so consent items passed. Item 7, Roman numeral 7, these are discussion leading to actions. And it is nice, we have Ms. White here too, to take us through a couple of pieces on these. The first one, any public comments on our employee handbook, Mary Beth? Okay. Let's hear a little bit, are you open to sharing with us a little bit about just your insight on the handbook, either things you're proud of or things we've added, or just your overall contentment, because your expertise means a lot to us.
Thank you.
Throw it up.
As Dr. Bean has stated earlier, he and I actually worked on the handbook together just to make sure that we had all the updated California labor laws for 2023 included in the handbook, as well as Dr. Bean has been listening to his staff as far as the vacation and sick time. So there were some things that I am proud of that we were able to build in vacation time for the teachers. So we have 3 days of vacation time for the teachers and 7 days of sick time that they can use. So the vacation time they can use at their leisure. There are some blackout dates within the handbook related
First day of
to.
school.
I'm sorry.
Like the first day of
First
school.
day
the
of
blackout.
school,
Yeah,
PE,
just making
yes,
sure.
and assessment.
Like, First to the last.
Those are very important, but I'm glad to be a part of this team and working with Dr. Bean, who is very conscious of his staff needs. And I'm just really proud to be a part of that.
We're proud to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add, we also had the attorneys do the final touches on the handbook as well too, so everything's in compliance.
Well, keep the mic just in case, there might be some praise or questions too. But thank you also for running it through that last legal lens. This is somewhat related. The board had forecast a new pay scale. When you're having conversations together with the prospective or returning employees, what's the sense you get for them on satisfaction with the overall compensation package? Adding those 3 days or soft days, which are really, those are great for them, you know, in a lot of ways, but give us kind of just, or give me a little feedback on, do we have some good contentment? You know, we always want to strive to, you know, make sure we're paying them enough, but any sense about that?
So far I've had the opportunity to onboard approximately 5 new teachers because I just started full-time in July. And I have not heard one complaint as far as the salary scale is concerned. And with my past experience, the previous school I was with, and looking and comparing salary scales with other schools in Los Angeles, I think IIA is very, very competitive with what's out there.
So those 3 days, how about that with the local schools, I'm gonna call them, the schools in the area, IUSD, do they have something similar? Is that, I wouldn't know. Is that unique to us? Do they have more? Do they
I
less?
haven't, excuse me, but I haven't had the time to compare with Irvine Unified School District. You have to forgive me, I'm from Los Angeles County, so I'm pretty familiar with.
What about Los Angeles County? then?
I'm sorry?
What about Los Angeles County?
In West Los Angeles, the former school that I was with was New West Charter School. It's located in West LA.
I know, but do they have something like that? Did they have like a,
As far as the
PTO.
PTO, very interesting.
did they have something like that for their teachers? I mean, is that a benefit unique to us?
The benefit that, I feel that the benefit that you're offering your teachers is better than the school that I come from. The teachers there only get 6 PTO days the entire school year,
Period.
and the PTO encompasses sick time. So
Right.
6 days.
Sure.
One of the caveats is, and one of the incentives that we built into the culture is because PTO is treated as vacation. So at the end of their employment agreement, which ends June 30th, if they don't use that, they can cash it out. So,
Yep.
and a lot of that has to do with ensuring that the students have a consistent instructional leader in the classroom throughout the school year, because it all ties into the success of the school and the students.
The system I came from, which is much larger, when systems were larger, you can offer things, right? So our teachers got 10 sick days, but they also got 8 PTO days. And capped at 8 each year, obviously. But that's very expensive because when an employee leaves, you have to pay out the PTO. So here it was a wash in one sense because we had 10 total sick days last year for teachers. This year, we're dividing that to 7 sick and three vacation, so they can use those 3 days however they want. The only difference is, so it's a wash in terms of payroll, but if they leave, and we're still debating this with the attorneys, if at the end of the year, we pay them out for the unused vacation, because you have to pay out the unused vacation.
Right.
So we're debating with attorneys whether it's annually we pay them out, or whether we let it roll over, in which then we pay out when they get terminated. But in the employee handbook, that the language that we wrote in there, it discusses both, so,
So if the sick day does not accumulate yearly.
correct, there's a cap on that,
The caps yearly and that's.
Correct.
right? So,
Yeah.
but they had that anyway. That
Correct.
was in there. Anyway. So it really gives them a little bit more flexibility.
oh, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that, vacation caps. Sick day rolls over,
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
So sick day rolls over to, they say, 2 years, they get it.
right, it rolls,
Accumulated sick day.
Yeah.
But we don't have to pay that.
no,
But I think it's,
so they have to use that.
I think it's more flexible, attractive,
Yes.
a little more attractive than we have.
Just a question on the employee handbook, as suggestions may come in over the year, what is the inflow process? If you get a suggestion, where does that go? Is it re-logging suggestions for consideration for next year's employee handbook at all in terms of any updates or changes?
So before Ms. White answers like on the daily input, I will say that the purpose of handbooks don't have to be approved by the board every year. They just have to be approved when there's massive legal updates, which we thought we should for 23-24. And then after that, handbooks can continually be revised with input. And then Kismet is the one who's gonna probably put together some sort of process to gather that input. I don't know if you thought about that yet, but
I haven't thought about a formal process yet, because I've just gotten here. But I am receiving some feedback from staff, not in relation to the handbook, but for benefits.
Health plans, yeah.
For health plans, which is also very important to our staff, all of our employees. So just making sure that I'm constant communication with Dr. B and the leadership of the school, so that I can have my ear on the ground to find out what's going on, so that we can continue to take care of our employees here at the school. Because the ultimate goal is to make sure that our students are taken care of.
one of the things Ms. White did with our lead team just a couple of days ago at our meeting was said to the lead team, why don't you talk with, as a lead team and the staff, on what you would like to see from benefits? And then present that to Ms. White. And so we thought that was great. So our lead team on Tuesday will get together. We're gonna talk about the wish list of what we'd like to see from our benefits, and then turn that into Kismet.
Which the organization I worked with would ask that question. Molly or others, any other thoughts on the employee handbook?
Thank you so much. I know there's a lot of work put in there, so thorough, and I read it this morning to answer, Pace question. So I've been in the public sector for 40 years. We never, I guess most people think that the teachers have a whole summer as vacation, but without pay. So
That's
I
right.
never heard about teacher gets vacation, so I think this is really good, you know, just let the teacher know.
Yeah, that's what it's trying to get at. Is that an attractive thing?
Yes. Especially
Even if
when
it's
you,
just a couple of days.
yeah, especially when you use vacation. Because sick leave and other personal leave, but often we have to state it why. And sometimes we have to get approval for it, but never heard about vacation, so
So-
that's great.
Do they have to get approval for that? Vacation?
For sick, yes.
No, for.
Yes, for
Oh, for
vacation.
vacation, yes,
So they still have to like ask,
yes. And
put it
Dr.
on a
Lee,
calendar or
right,
something.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, they have to ask for when they want to take it, right? Because we want to make sure it doesn't hit the blackout dates. But if it's not in the blackout dates, yeah, you're gonna approve it, you know.
Yeah,
we're gonna
so
approve
it's not like the day before, they can just take vacation. Or the day.
it. They could if everything's all planned, sure,
No, I mean that next day, tomorrow, I want to take vacation.
right.
And I can just
Typically,
ask.
those are sick days. because they're feeling ill or whatever, but if somebody legitimately says, Dr. Bean, I'm just gonna go to Disneyland tomorrow. I say, have you done all your sub plans and have you set up a sub? They say yes, it's approved.
Yeah, okay, so it's that.
It's, there's also conflict internally sometimes for employees as well. Those employees who just never get sick.
Yeah, I
And they
never
get
get
near
sick.
the end of the year and then they're like, internally, I feel like I've got 8 days. But I'm not really sick. I'm going to Disneyland and they're conflicted, right? And they should be conflicted. And this really changes the game. We would have these teachers that would, as a different school, would be tempted just to take literally 8 days off in a row just because they had them left over. We're like, you can, but you're not sick. It wasn't the intention. And we know and we know, and all of that. So I love this move. This is really insightful to real world.
I think it'll go over well.
Sorry, I have another question.
You mentioned, you asked the teacher, do they have a sub plan and do they have a sub? So what is that process? The teacher needs to contact who to get the sub?
So the sub process, do I need to use the microphone or can they hear me? Can the Zoom hear me? All right, the process for getting a sub is pretty simple. You call in to Mary Beth and Mary Beth calls Scoot and Scoot gives them a sub. Or if it's last minute and they can't get a hold of Mary Beth, they can actually book a sub through Scoot themselves. The policy here at campus though is that in the beginning of the year, all teachers have to turn in what's called emergency sub folder. So that's like if there's an emergency and they can't write up a lesson plan, we can use a sub folder. But if it's a planned time off, then they write lesson plans, they copy the materials, and they give it to their lead teacher so that when the sub comes in, Sci-Sar or Mary Beth, takes them to the lead, and then the lead will, get them acclimated and give them the plan for the day and the activities. That's like the entire process, but teachers absolutely have to have emergency sub plans, that's mandatory. And they absolutely have to create plans if it's a planned leave. Yeah, and sometimes we don't use Scoot, sometimes our teachers will cover for one another, which we can, do too. So I'd rather save the money and have our internally coverage for each other.
Well, that's in, motion.
Sorry to interrupt, but the motion should have something where you approve it, but you also approve that Ms. White and I will put the finishing touches with our attorneys on the language, because there's still some legal language that has to be put into the version that you're looking at.
great. So I'll ask for then the motion to approve the 2023-24 employee handbook with the caveat, the attorneys will add some final language.
Yeah.
Make that motion.
And Felipe motions and
Whatever you said.
that was great. That was a way to do it. And second is Molly. And so we'll do our vote from left to right, Molly.
Yes.
And Doug is a yes, and Brett Freeman
Aye.
and Felipe Delgado.
Aye.
All right, wonderful. Passes all unanimous. Item B of discussion action is the annual notification to parents. If you had a chance to look at this, it's by state law. We give this. It helps the parents know all of their rights as a parent. And that's become more and more important. In our school, there's high transparency, there's high involvement, unusually high involvement by parents. That's probably a major contributor to our success. But this just tells them you're invited to be involved in your child's education. I'll ask for any comments by either Ms. White or Dr. Bean on the notification, if there is anything to add, but that's the purpose.
Yeah, no, I think you did a great job, Doug. The purpose is in the blue gray area there, and all districts are required to give these annual notices. And because we're a district, we're an LEA, we're a district, so therefore we need to provide this. So the board needs to approve it, and then we post it both on the website, and we will include it in beginning of the school year packet.
Comments or questions from board?
It's probably not a requirement, but is it something to consider that we have a Mandarin version? Or,
That's actually a very good point. We should probably have Sai translate this for us, for somebody.
it's a great idea.
Molly, are you interested in translating?
Can't, my Chinese is, it's only like first grade level.
She wants to defer to the expertise of Sai, but I think you probably could pull it off, but Sai's so good.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I know size is great, she can translate all that, but this is 8 pages here. Do we have like professional translation team, schools?
Okay, we have what?
Do some kind of professional. Not that size can't do it, but it seems to me like we run into this kind of problem all the time, that we need a document, it's a pretty important one, translated. And
We're very lucky to actually have Sai, who is a very good translator, which saves us quite a bit of money getting a professional translator. So she's definitely really proficient enough to translate these
I'm
documents.
just worried that, when Slice is not around, we need,
Good point.
is there, I think this is unique to our school, that we need a professional Mandarin.
Well, we have a lot of Mandarin speakers on campus. Sandy could translate, Sandy's translated as well. So there's several people that could.
Okay,
definitely
I'm gonna tell you what I learned.
Yeah.
Is that this is just because I happen to be married to an Asian wife, that you get one of them to translate it, and then the other one reads it and goes, that's not the right word for this, right?
Right.
They have their opinions, right?
Right.
So that's why I was kind of thinking, is there even such a thing as a professional, somebody who does it? Or
Well,
translate
absolutely.
it for us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I-
we would just need to raise probably, $100,000 to,
You know?
cover all that. But yeah, there are.
There
agencies
is
that do it.
somebody we could go to, I mean, other than Google Translate.
There are agencies we could hire. Yeah.
I'll leave it to you.
If
I'll
we
leave
don't
it to
have-
you.
Great.
I'm just telling you, I get that feedback.
I
get that.
I do have, friends retired that they can translate this.
Oh, excellent.
Good source, another resource.
Okay, see, I'll reach out to Molly. Let's,
I know my brother-in-law. And he's really good with English and Chinese.
that'd be amazing.
I think that would be, Sci-Si's got plenty to do.
Right.
If you could look for this resource and, open it up, open that channel, I think it's really valuable for the school.
I think that's a great idea. So I'll reach out to you, Molly.
Great. Wonderful discussion. Then I'll make a motion. We approve the annual notification to parents with the task associated with it to provide a Mandarin version for those that, well, maybe for everybody, but for certainly those that would desire it. Could I ask for,
That's like.
yeah, with website, yeah. I could ask for a second on that motion.
Second.
Oh, it's hard to tell, Mary Beth, you're gonna have to be the tiebreaker. Who do you want to give it to? You gave it to Felipe, okay. Holly, are you a vote?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, and Brett,
I,
and Felipe.
Yes.
Thank you. Wonderful, thank you. Good, that concludes our discussion action item. Some closing items in Roman numeral A. We'll take a moment, see if we have some board member comments for our executive director or others. We'll just take a glance in a moment at the future board meetings and such. But we'll just do round robin. Maybe we'll get ready, Molly. We're going to start on that end with Felipe, and then we'll just go down the line and see if there's some board comments or affirmations for our executive director.
Can you need me to talk into the mic, or can you hear me?
Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Here we go. I'll start from the bottom up here. For the IA staff retreat, that's like a week and a half or whatever. If you need a board member to show up, to validate the Dr. Beam, whatever you're doing here. I'm here Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays officially, come by. My number, right? I'm willing to come and participate there or whatever you need. From last year, or maybe it was last month, we talked about the absenteeism percentage, the truancy. I'm not sure if I'm using the right words there. And I believe
Joe Fernandez was supposed to come up with some kind of policy.
Yep.
A little bit stricter, or I shouldn't say stricter, but something more firm. Are we working on that? What's the status on that?
It'll be done by orientation, because he's
Okay.
gonna be presenting it to the parents.
Oh, he will be?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I, definitely something we need to work on.
It includes letters home. It includes then after several letters, a meeting with the school team. And then ultimately, which we don't want to get to there, parents need to know that we could report it to the district attorney's office.
Whatever is appropriate. The other thing is the uniform, the school uniform. So I didn't see anything about that, but we're still enforcing that, right? School uniform, red tops, blue bottoms,
Yep,
pretty
in the
straightforward,
handbook, family handbook, and it'll be discussed orientation.
right? I just happened to be at Walmart the other day. You can buy red tops, blue bottoms, they're $1, $2 each, And that's all we really require, right? They don't have to get a fancy red, actual schools. Probably, uniform. Yeah, probably have my kids here dressed in, just during the orientations. So you can point to them if you'd like.
Yeah.
Last thing I got for you here. So concern that was happening last year was with the air conditioning, right? And, I was hoping that we could give them a call. USD, have them check out the air conditioning. We have 60% more students this year.
Yeah.
I'd like to have our air conditioning working top notch before the heat of October. So to get an opportunity, I'm sure if they hear Dr. Bean, everybody jumps over there. You can add that to your mini list of things that you can.
Yeah, I appreciate Mary Beth typing it up for me right now, so.
Yeah, okay, good. That'll help. And I'll be asking you about that. I'll be following up.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you will.
Okay. Because my kid's here too.
Absolutely.
I just have a couple things. One, given the student count, I'm just wondering in the next year type thing, right? And I'm not sure in our discussions with IUSD, how much flexibility there will be to get some more classrooms, but at some point, we probably need to get a facilities committee together of some sort.
That's exactly right.
To think about future. So I'm sure that's on your back burner, but just something to bring forward here, given the phenomenon. And then the other, just curious, I know they strategic kids have the camp here this summer. I understand there were 70 plus kids or something like that. And things still very positive for this coming school year with strategic kids. We see any changes or improvements there?
Well, this is the year that they're put on notice in terms of at the end of this year, we'll be making a decision on whether we continue with them or another vendor. So they know this is the year that they really have to turn up their game. Overall, I heard positive things about the summer school, which is great. I'd like to hear more positive things about the actual after school program during the school year. So hopefully I'll, have my ears attuned to any kind of comments from parents, but we'll be closely looking at whether they're gonna continue the following.
Oh, by the way, I volunteer to be in the facilities.
Oh, yes, great. You,
I volunteered to head the facilities.
okay,
How's that?
who's gonna head the gala committee?
They didn't want to say, maybe one of these. The gala, I thought they wanted to say.
With a brand new year starting, just want to echo something that's oftentimes said by this board to those that are present here. It's oftentimes you three very recently, but others as well. It's simply thank you. Thank you for creating such a great environment for parents and their children. That is a unique learning environment. And thank you. It's when you're doing school, it's different than other jobs. You're all in. And so hopefully you found some rest and you'll schedule some more rest as needed. School runs in a rhythm, as you know, but when you're an administrator, it's a little different than your rhythm. You're in it when they're off, and then you're still in it when they're in it. And so do find a slice of those days to rest, even if it's a little October break or something like that as well. You're worth it, And we want you to be at your best and your families to appreciate what you do as much as we do.
I really appreciate the administrations that you guys, pay this, getting ready for the school year. But notice that a lot of effort you put into, the handbook and all these schedules and looking at the, staff retreat. It just, I'm so excited. It's a different excitement that I have. Usually I'm excited about welcoming students and you, but this is, I think it's a teacher, you get trained, the first week, and then the week before school start, you have enough time to work in the classroom. And, so I'm excited, and I would definitely come and support it. Anyways, I can, so I look forward to be more involved. So maybe I can compete with Philippines. No, I'm really excited about this. Thank you for your work.
I'll add one little thing to that, if I may. Someone once said, you know what a meeting without food is? An email. And so I'll be getting with you, Mary Beth, and see if our little law office can sponsor at least 1 or 2 days of snacks in the morning, whether it's, coffee and bagels or something like that. And we'll make sure that we get to supplement we've already planned too. Everyone can see the preview of dates there. If there's one that turns up that is worth and needs a modification, we're way out in advance. Could let myself and Mary Beth and Dr. B know, and we can see if we can accommodate for any board member. Of course, you can, if you know what location you're going to be in, you can remotely attend so long as we have a forum in the district. But looks good. Thank you for laying it all out for us, Mary Beth. That brings us to adjournment. I'll invite a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Brett. In second. And yeah, great. Molly, a second. We'll go down the line, Molly.
Yes.
And Keys is yes. Brett Freeman.
Aye.
And Olivia Delgado.
Yes.
And we're done. And I'll thank everybody who's participated in person and online. We are adjourned. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
If you need